See how applying some of these little things into your life impacts you in a more empowered way, in a more nourished way, in a way that really feels good, instead of bypassing how you're feeling.
Hello, and welcome to the Connect podcast. This show is all about helping you connect to your soul's calling so you can take action on it. Because the sweetest success is a blend of discovering your purpose with the inner drive to bring it to life. I'm Sheila, health coach, lifestyle entrepreneur, and mom of two, best known for my online wellness programs, mentoring, and self-love passion. Listen in for inspiring interviews, solo chats, and Q&A sessions that will move you past overwhelm towards what lights you up. Stop accepting good enough and go for your version of great in your health, business, and relationships. Let's get started.
Welcome. I hope you're having a beautiful start to your week. I wanted to bring a question to you today that has been shared with me on a number of occasions from women who have been wanting to elevate their self-care, who've been wanting to elevate their wellness because they are doing so much good work in the world. They want to create a big impact. Sometimes their body doesn't cooperate with them along this journey. Perhaps this is you. Perhaps you find yourself having these big dreams and goals, and you have a whole list of things that you're going to accomplish this week. And then your body decides, I don't know if I can do this. It's very easy to start feeling defeated. It's very easy to start feeling like maybe this isn't for me, because every time I try to keep moving forward and acting on a new growth idea, things come up. And sometimes it's connected to your wellness, connected to your energy. And I want to address this by asking a few questions, sharing a few insights that I have found that have come up as we have these conversations. There's many factors at play. First of all, everybody is different. Every body is different. Every human experience is different. We're coming from different backgrounds, whether it be culturally, familially, depending on where you're working, depending on what your vocation is, and also depending on what your health history is. And this is something that as a health coach is always where I begin. What is your health history? Because seeing that allows for me to know, well, what are the root causes, or at least perhaps give some insight into it, into why certain things have been experienced in your wellness and then in your current lifestyle as well. Because often what we experience in the past impacts us today, whether it be a physical manifestation of that or in our thoughts about what is possible. You've heard the term once bitten, twice shy. If we have ever had certain things happen to us where we're trying to make big, bold moves forward, and then we get sick, we get taken out, something happens, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking to want to take that step forward again. All of these things that we experience get stored in our nervous system. And our nervous system is very smart. It wants to protect us. It wants to keep us safe. And so as part of looking at the overall picture of your health and the overall picture of how you're feeling today, we need to look at the past for a little bit and just get some insights. I don't like to spend too much time there because I believe that once you gain those insights, you can start to make shifts towards really what you want to be experiencing, how you want to be feeling. At least you can start focusing there. And it may take a longer time, it may take a shorter time, but at least you're going to have some insight to move forward. So there's many different things attached to this. Sometimes it's just timing, where you decide there's some things you want to do, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, your body decides, no, I don't have the ability to move forward with this. And so what I'd love for you to do is, like I said, you look at your history, health history. What have been the things that you've experienced in the past that have brought you to the health that you have now? We look at foods you've eaten. We look at the lifestyle you had growing up compared to your lifestyle now. We look at stress. We look at relationships. We look at physical activity, the whole situation that makes you up. And when people work with me, they have a whole list of things that they go through. It's an assessment, and it's a very long list of questions that people will go through in order to gain an understanding for themselves of perhaps why they're feeling the way they're feeling. And then it allows me to gain some insight as well. And so once we look through those things, then we can take some steps. So some of the reasons why what you're experiencing may be impacting you moving forward are your past health history, but then also it could be just the timing of the season. It could be the timing of where you're at, the season of life you're at, the season of your career that you're at. And also if you're a cycling woman, it could be the season of where you're at in your menstrual cycle as well. It changes over the years. Every decade is different. And the impact on your health and on the experience that you have every single day in your work, your family, your career, everything does impact how you cycle as well. Everything is connected. And so my greatest work is helping women to reconnect to their body, to how they're truly feeling, and then to guide them into how do they truly want to be feeling moving forward. And we work together on mirroring that for you, and allowing you to find some different practices and things that feel good to you to help you move in that direction. So when you're looking at this, the whole collective of information about yourself, it's like a computer program that has been stored from your past. And by making small shifts, in some cases, you can actually change the trajectory a little bit. Because just like anything in life, it's not a linear path. It's not like, great, I need to do this to experience this, and it's a straight line to get there. Usually it's a winding path. It's a bit of trial and error. We're adding in emotions. We're adding in world events. We're adding in family things. We're adding in other relationships in our life. And we're adding in just the human factor of every day we might feel a little differently. The weather may impact you. In the Northern Hemisphere, we've entered into the autumn season, and this can be a really difficult time for people's wellness because with that shift from the really warm weather to the cool weather, and then warm weather, cold weather, warm weather, cold weather, it impacts the immune system. It can be a very harsh, stark experience. And so also with more people congregating indoors, you're exposed to more people and just all of the things coming together to culminate that if you are not rested, if you're experiencing a lot of stress, and perhaps due to those reasons, your immune system is a little lower or feeling like it's being tested, it is possible for you to get under the weather and to catch certain things. And it's totally normal and it's all good because these things, it's just part of the process of being human, right? We're connected to all this stuff. We're connected to each other. But knowing that autumn can be a tricky time for this is something to keep in mind. And also knowing that the shifting times and the sun setting earlier, rising later, you have less time in sunlight hours, perhaps less time outdoors because it is cooler and maybe you don't like being outside as much when it's cooler. So you're not gaining the beautiful effects of nature and vitamin D and all of these things. So that can impact your mood as well. And then again, it's just all connected. So we look at this and we say, okay, well, what are the things that we need to do in order to come to a new baseline? And the first place I always begin is have grace on yourself for where you are right now. And know that this is a moment in time. And just like the seasons change and then it'll be winter and spring and summer again, we can have those experiences every day, where every day you have a new beginning. And so we look at what is your day made up of? How can we build in more pockets of self-care? What are some tiny little things we can shift in your wellness routine to bolster your health? Perhaps what I always recommend at this time of year is to start supplementing with vitamin D. And there is a calculation that I use to help you determine for you what the proper amount is. And a nice place to start is, again, like I will say, go for a blood test. This is a great time of year to go for a blood test to see, well, what are your vitamin D levels are at already? And then that will help you know how much vitamin D you need to supplement with. And I'm not talking about just grabbing any vitamin D either. I have recommendations if you're looking to try some really high quality pharmaceutical grade vitamin D. Send me a DM and I'll let you take a look, because the quality of what you put in your body is going to be what you get. So vitamin D supplementation all the way through to like May or June when the sun is out, like at least a 6-month period of vitamin D supplementation is super helpful, because in the Northern Hemisphere, even if you're outside midday, you're still not getting the amount of vitamin D that you would be getting in the summertime or like spring to early fall, because the sun is not as close to the earth at this particular, like it's, the earth tilts and the sun's further away. So that's one thing to look at. The other thing is to start eating seasonally to bolster your digestion, to help you feel more full, to give you those nutrients that are going to help you equal out your estrogen levels as well. And that is like pre and post menopause, right? Even if you're in menopause already, you do have some hormones at work. It's not like, oh, no more hormones. No, there's still hormones. And I can tell you, I know some people who are in their 80s who are still experiencing very severe night sweats and hot flashes. And so eating a certain way can help alleviate that. It's just the willingness to be able to do that, right? So every person is different. It's what we call bio-individuality in the wellness space. So we look at those things. We look at the stressors in your life. Are there difficult conversations that you need to have? Is there something you're in avoidance of? That is going to impact how you're feeling. That's going to impact your motivation as well. We're going to look at your sleep. What is the quality of your sleep? Are you getting up in the night a lot? Are you finding it hard to fall asleep? There's certain things I have that can help with that as well, supplements and things. But ultimately, I really feel like getting into a process of being able to witness your thoughts and experiences and dealing with those things that you know you need to be dealing with, they will help you so much. Being able to address these things will help your sleep as well. We all have things going on at any given time. So having someone to witness, to walk with, to be able to hold space for these things is so important. And so these are some of the things that we can think about when you have this big week ahead that you want to pour yourself into and your body is just not feeling it. So you look at these things, and then you also look at what are the most important things that you need to be doing this week. You prioritize those. You put the energy that you do have into those, and you reschedule where you can. You delegate where you can. You postpone where you can, and you build in extra rest and restorative things for yourself wherever you can. And if you're running your own business, if you have just a really jammed week, you can also do things like just building in little pockets of time to recalibrate yourself throughout the day. And always getting more sleep at night is a great idea. It's a great idea. But really having grace on yourself is a very big part of the process. As a woman, I was having this conversation with a friend the other night. Being a woman in these bodies that cycle differently every week throughout the month, and then during every season, it's different as well. It's work, in a sense, to be able to fit ourselves into the structure that society has us in of how to live and work and operate. It does take some work. And the beautiful thing is, too, what a friend reminded me of is we get to have a depth of experience in the emotional world, in the relationship world, in the connection world. We can hold space for each other. So if it's not getting a coach, finding guidance in that way, it's finding another friend to walk hand in hand through this wild roller coaster of life and witnessing these things for each other. Because in the sisterhood of ages past, previous to the Industrial Revolution, previous to even the Agricultural Revolution, like long ago, women would meet in circle. Women would come together and they would support each other. So when one woman was having her moon time, as they may have called it, they would care for the children. They would care for the meals. And then when they were through that time, then they would reciprocate that process. The community was there for each other in certain cultures. You can look to the Mayan culture. You can look to the Asian culture. You can look to probably back to the Celtic culture where they would come together and they would help each other. And we can do that for each other now as well. We can do it in different ways. We can do it by voice noting each other, by texting each other and saying, hey, how's it going? Do you need anything? Sending someone some DoorDash, whatever the case, we can support each other in different ways. So I invite you into all of these different things. You can re-listen to this, take a few notes, and then see how applying some of these little things into your life and even just the awareness, see how it impacts you and gives you a feeling that I can do this and I still can accomplish my goals, and I can do it in a more empowered way, in a more nourished way, in a way that really feels good, instead of bypassing how you're feeling, pushing through, being exhausted and bedraggled and resentful of yourself and everyone around you. How do you most want to feel? There are different ways that you can experience that. I invite you into that. Please send questions that you have for future Q&A episodes into my DMs at Sheila A. Botello. My self-care strategy work is so expansive because it touches every part of your life and your business. And the more rooted and whole and nourished that you are, the greater impact you can have doing your intended work in the world, in your family, and in your community. Thank you for listening. I hope that you take the time to get retrospective, to go inward, because this is what will create beautiful payoff for you long term. Thanks for listening. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you so much for being here with me on the Connect podcast. If you like this episode, please share it with someone you think would enjoy it. Also, if you head over to iTunes to leave a review, I'd be so grateful. Let us know what your favorite parts were and what you'd like to hear more of. It will help us have a greater impact, elevating many more people to grow and succeed together. See you next time.